While we wait for the other joinees, just a few housekeeping items. At any point of the workshop, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask them away, because this workshop is all about getting your queries solved. Also because we have the product team, so it's a very good opportunity to get to know about Reo that you would want to know. Subsequently, if you want to also reach out to us on Slack and email to your designated CS, you can do so after the workshop. We're always there to help you. All right, I think we can begin. So first of all, welcome guys. This is a monthly product workshop. Just to quickly give you a roundup of what this workshop is about, it's divided into two parts, two types of contents is that what we cover. One is indexed on the features, powerful features of Reo.Dev that we'll showcase. And the alternate months, we pick up a very powerful GTM use case. And then we sort of show you how you can implement that use case through Reo.Dev. Today's workshop is indexed on the feature-based content, and the features that we are covering are buyers and campaigns, right? Before we get into the whole demo, I just have a quick round of introduction. I'm Mitali. I am part of the product marketing team, and we have a product specialist here, Achintya, who's also a co-founder and head CS, and we have Sandeep. Sandeep is the sole creator of these two buyers. So please feel free to ask him anything technical, non-technical about these two features. The structure of this workshop will be, I'll just give you a quick demo, a 15 minutes demo of how you can use these two features. And then we'll open the floor to your questions, because it's all about getting your questions answered, right? So without further ado, cool. I hope everybody can see my screen. Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so let's first encounter the buyer feature and how you can use it. So essentially, there are two ways in which you can find high intent buyers in Reo.Dev. Now let's take an example. I'm an SDR and I want to find buyers of enterprise accounts who have deployed my POC / are super active on my product, right? So I've already created this segment, right? And I go on the accounts view. Once the accounts are populated, an interesting account catches my eye. For example, Databricks. First, we need to qualify if the activities which are done here are high intent activities. So I go on the activity timeline. I see that a lot of good activity has been done on my docs. People have visited my key pages and a lot of other good activity, right? I surely want to use this to reach out to the prospects of these accounts. But there are two things. A, the person who's done the activity is de-anonymized. And second, it's not necessary that the developers who've done these activities might be the buyers. So what I do next is the prospects. Go on the prospects tab. First, you'll see a list of buyers that we recommend, which have been de-anonymized based on the activity. Now, if you want to go beyond this search, you find that the ICP is not matching, or you want to go beyond the search, you want to click on find more buyers. Now, by default, the location and the seniority filters are applied. But if you still want to go ahead and customize, please feel free to do that. And you can also add, for more granular finding, you can also add designation and job function. Now we throw these recommendations from our Reo.DB, and then you can sift through them and then find the buyers that you are interested in reaching out to. For example, I want to reach out to the machine learning ML practice director. What you do is you select the person, or you can select multiple people, and you can click on add more buyers. Now you can see that the buyer is added to the main tab. This brings us to the identification part. you identify the buyers that you want to reach out to. How do you action upon it? Now, there are two types of actions that you can take. What one thing is, so it generally takes time to get the buyers synced. So I'll just show you for the interest of demo, is what you do is you select a buyer from here, and you can either add them to HubSpot if you're running your campaigns from there. What it will essentially do is it will sort of update the contacts object and have a buyer tag next to it. Or you can directly enroll this buyer into an Apollo sequence right from Reo.Dev without switching any tools. So all you have to do is like select a sequence and then a from name and then send to sequence. And this buyer will be automatically added to the sequence that you have set in Apollo. Now, this was one way of identifying buyers. The second way is something that we highly recommend you do is configure your ICP of buyers based on certain attributes that you would know best, right? What it does is it allows you to quickly identify buyers without sifting through a lot of big lists. For that, what you do is you go to settings and you go to configure. And there's an option under that called persona configuration. Now, let's say that I have a cloud product and I want to reach out to the ML practitioners, AI ML practitioners. Create a persona. And then you add a filter. I want to specifically focus on a designation filter. Now, let's say that data scientist is one of your key ICP. Now, you see that there are a lot of variations of the title that have come in. Instead of manually selecting them, there's a small hack that you can do is you can add a wildcard, which is basically add an asterisk before and after the designation. And you can do this for any designation. What it does is Reo will select all the titles, variations of this titles, and give you the buyers with any variation of this titles. So here I've entered data scientists and AI and ML. And I can also add a seniority. So once that is done, I will save this and exit. Sorry. Now, where will this reflect? You can go back to the buyers tab. Sorry, the accounts view. Go to prospects. Find more buyers. And you see the persona that we've created has been populated here directly. So instead of sifting through the entire list of recommendations, you can select an AIML enterprise buyer persona, right? And the workflow remains the same after this. The next thing I want to focus on is per se that if you have a use case of running bulk campaigns on buyers, right? So we've introduced a buyers view here, like an account view and developer view, wherein we show you the list of buyers. But let's say that I want to run campaigns specifically on buyers which are active, say, again, let's take the same example, who have deployed your POC. For that, I will have to first make a segment of buyers. Now there's a new segment type that we've introduced, which is the buyer type, right? So say buyers deployed POC, right? You can add a filter here, deployed. And for good measure, we can add this, right? Then, sorry about this, you can save and exit. Close. While this loads, I particularly wanted to get your focus on the source filter, right? Which won't be available in the accounts and developers. So what is the source filter? Now, there are three types of sources wherein we get the buyer data from? Dev activity, CRM, and Reo.Dev. Dev activity is essentially where the developers have been de-anonymized, and these developers hold a senior title, director and above. CRM is basically the prospects that we have imported from your CRM and which are potential buyers. And Reo.Dev is our own proprietary AI discovery engine that we work with third-party data. Now, like you see, the buyers from the segment who have of accounts that who have deployed our POC are populated here. Again, if I want to take any action on them, I can select and I can take the same action to send the data to HubSpot or Apollo. Right. This brings us to the end of the buyer feature. I'll quickly round up the campaigns feature, which is fairly intuitive. Right now, the campaigns a feature allows you to not toggle between like Apollo or outreach. You can directly enroll these leads, developer or buyer leads, right from Reo.Dev. Now, if you go to the campaigns feature, which is set here, you can create a campaign. Let's say active on competitor repo, right? You can have a segment type, which is buyers, and a segment name. One thing to remember here is whenever a buyer matches the segment criteria that you have set for the segment, they will automatically get enrolled in the sequence. You can add them to the Apollo sequence or outreach sequence. Then you can have the sequence name that you would have set up in Apollo or outreach, and then a from address. And if you have some buyers who have already been enrolled in another sequences, you can choose to not have them as a part of the existing campaign. Then you can create this campaign. Right. Yeah, I think there might be some glitch, but once you create the campaign name should come here. The status should be on. And if you feel like anytime you want to disconnect the campaign, you can always like toggle this button. And we can always have the campaign metrics to measure your like high level metrics is what we give, like open rate, click rate, and reply rate. Sorry, the thing is not loading, but yeah, get the gist. Cool. So this brings us to the end of the demo. I'll open the floor for your questions. So please feel free to ask them away. You can mute yourself and ask your questions, or you can type them in the, yeah.
I think Mark had a question about him not being able to see campaigns tab. So this feature is an automation feature, and since our product is being used by large teams, so we have currently restricted it to only admin roles. So in our system, we have two roles for users who are using the product. One is admin, another is user. So this feature, campaigns feature, is currently live only for admin roles. So Mark, I would recommend you to connect with the admin of your account and have a look at this feature. Or if you want to run this automation, maybe you can get admin access. That is one. Another is you ask your admin to run the campaigns for you.
Okay. We had another question, which was, one second. Okay.
I also see one question from Tay.
Hey
But
guys,
hey Tay.
Okay.
how are you? Looks very exciting. I just had a sort of a housekeeping question on if we ran campaigns through your platform. Is there any indication if a buyer or account or buyer or developer level, how many campaigns they're included in to make sure they're not over exhausted, right? Or is that something we need to just keep an eye on manually?
So there's no tracker or a insight like that in our platform, but what you can do is while creating a campaign, there is an option to not send it to there's an option to dedupe it. For example, if you don't want uh, those contacts to be part of this sequence, which are already part of some other sequence, right? So you can select that option while creating that campaign, and hence only those contacts will be added to this sequence, which are absolutely like not part of any other sequence.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good feature. So I like that. But that's to me sounds like it's a binary. It's mutually exclusive. They're in one campaign, then they'll be eliminated out of every other campaign. Is that correct understanding?
It does that if a particular contact if a particular contact in that segment is part of any other sequence, then it will not be added to this particular campaign.
Okay. Okay.
I think that should solve your problem. If have I answered it correctly, or is there any other clarity?
No, I mean that feature is useful, so I like that. But I can see running. I want to have a buyer in that's in three campaigns. That's
Oh,
probably good enough, and not any more than that, because you don't want to have them in five or just one's not enough. So just trying to manage that, right?
got it. So I think what Tay you're saying is that you would be okay with three, like, but not four, right? So you would like to have a cap, like we have capped you at one with this feature, but you might like to go to a certain feature and say, hey, don't send more than don't make one lead or one contact a part of more than X campaigns or X sequences, and that X
Or
you have.
just to be able to know, because I can easily imagine I've been myself involved where I'm on a newsletter, right? Which I'm happy with, monthly newsletter campaigns, that's fine. And then certain products. I'm interested in certain products of Microsoft, but not all their products, right? So that and maybe it may be a third, right? It's just I'm a buyer, so they want to I want to target a buyer with certain business oriented info. That's it, right? So easily more than one, but I don't want to be bombarded with I hate it when I get bombarded with like five or emails from the same company over things I don't want to hear about, right?
Makes sense. This is useful, right? I mean, today, I mean, we have limited it to one, but yeah, I think this helps.
We have another question. Can we add buyers in bulk for all companies that are part of a segment? Sandeep, maybe.
Yes. Right now, no. Right now, the feature as Mithali gave the demo. You can do it one by one account at a time. But yes, that's one request that we have gotten from a few customers already now, and we are in the process of working on it. Yes.
Cool. Another question
You'll
that
be able to add
sorry.
buyers on a bulk level, like create a segment, and on segment with specification personas, you can add buyers in bulk and then run the campaigns. We are just working on that.
Another question was how to search, especially when there's a long list of buyers, how to get more relevant results, how to get the results easily.
Right. I think the here is trick lies on the type of filter that you use. For example, as Mithali was mentioning in the demo, how she was selecting the designations which she was really interested in. For example, if I have a ML infra product and I want to target senior AI ML employees in my ICP accounts, I'll probably want only those specific designations which are relevant. I may not filter at a high level that I want all the directors in the engineering department. I would probably want directors in engineering department within engineering department, for example, having designations with data scientist, or maybe ML or staff data, etc., etc. I think that has helped many of our customers narrow down their results and make it much more relevant.
Another question we had, somebody fill the form, was if I add a buyer, can my SDR see it? Can I build list for my SDR?
Yes. So to the first part of the question, if anyone in the team is adding buyers manually from Reo.DB, any other user in the team can view it. For example, if Microsoft is an account where I added buyers based on my ICP persona, and Mitali is, let's say, another user in my team, if she views the Microsoft account, she would also be able to view the buyers which were added by me. That was the first part. Sorry, the other part is, can I make a list of buyers?
Yeah.
There's no functionality as list of buyers, but if the idea is to run campaigns on a specific segment of buyers or a specific cohort of buyers, that we can do using buyer segment. You can build n number of cohorts of buyers using the buyer segment feature. For example, if you want to run find out buyers, let's say, who are active on pricing page, that could be one segment. Another could be if you want to find buyers from those accounts which are currently building POC, that is also possible. Like n number of combinations that you can do and build a segment of buyers and then enroll them into a relevant sequence, or you reach out to them on LinkedIn or any playbook that you have.
Got it. And one question that we got
Add
was,
to it, you can of course download the list of buyers by creating a segment and just download the CSV.
how are we providing this data of buyers? I think they are mentioning about the Reo.DB.
Oh, got it. Yes. So, so we partner with various B2B data providers. This would include the likes of Apollo, Zoom Info, etc., who are all GDPR compliant in their sense, and we aggregate the data from these sources. And what we just don't aggregate the data from these sources. We apply a layer of intelligence on top of it. For example, you would, if you try to find your ICP buyers in these platforms, you would have to filter from a huge list, especially if the account is enterprise account. But what we do is, at the first level of filtering, you would always see engineering profiles, because the entire platform, Reo.Dev platform, is focused for dev tool products, dev tool GTM companies, right? GTM folks of dev tool companies, right? So that's the first level of filtering that we do. And there's like the other levels of granularity we provide based on designation, based on job function. For example, if you have a cloud product and you want to target DevOps function, or let's say senior folks in DevOps function, you can simply filter out, filter that entire department using DevOps as a job function. One thing I would like to add is we also have something called location intelligence. For example, if developers are active from an enterprise account, if developers are active from a certain location, there's a high chance that the buyer is also sitting in that location, because enterprise accounts have different headquarters across the the world or in general across geographies. So what we do is we also give a recommendation of these top locations from where developers are active. So if you want to find buyers present in those top locations, you can do that as well.
All right. And one question is, for companies selling into multiple regions, how should they set up buyer segments to ensure the right outreach for different markets?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
For companies selling into multiple regions, how should they set up the buyer segments to ensure the right outreach for different markets?
Yeah, so we have something called location. So we have multiple levels of granularity in location. For example, one is simply on the even if you try to build a buyer segment, there are two levels of location filtering. One is on the accounts. For example, you want to target buyers from a certain geography from accounts which belong to, let's say, US only, if US is your territory, for example. So you can build a segment on that, buyers belonging to accounts which are headquartered in US. But let's say even within US, if you have granular territories, you can do that as well. For example, if your territory is California, you can target that as well. For example, you can create a segment of buyers who belong to those accounts whose headquarters are in California, United States. So that way you can build multiple segments based on geographies and run different personalized campaigns.
Got it. I think, guys, if you do not have any questions on buyers, this forum is open for other questions of Reo platform also. So feel free to not just restrict to the buyers and the campaign features. If you have any other questions, this will be a very good time to get to know them. Or if the product team wants to know anything in particular.
I think I had just one question, and it was like, if you guys can help us understand what's your entry point into Reo, like what makes you start on Reo? Do you start with the Reo digest we send you, or is it that you mark your calendars and you know, okay, this is time you need to look into accounts, or you start your day with us? That was perhaps the only question I would like to ask.
Would anybody like to answer?
Sure, no problem.
Probably you can Slack it to us.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Would love to learn.
Yeah. Awesome. If we do not have any questions, we can conclude the session. You'll get a survey form after you exit the Zoom platform. Basically, it'll help us to sort of curate better content. You can just like mention what sort of content would you like to see, and we will sort of in our next product workshops try to cover that. But yeah, if you have any questions post this, you can reach out to your designated CS person or even Slack them to us, DM us, email us. We're always there. Cool. Awesome. Please feel free again to drop the questions. Thank you guys so much. We will send this recording to you in a couple of days. So yeah, that would be it. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.